looking forward to tonight. I tell you what, it is really, I'm very excited about tonight, as we both are. And of course, I'm sure you know as well, because we're joined by a very special guest this evening on Mahala Monday. But before we go any further, let me just remind you, it is an interactive show, of course, which means we welcome your comments, your questions, and trust me, our guest tonight, you're definitely going to have a question or two for our special guest. But before we introduce guest, and before we get in, let me ask you a question. Are you a person that lives to eat or a person that eats to live?
Oh my word. I can actually say both. I love to eat and I eat to live. Both. Definitely. I love both worlds. I love cooking and I love eating. So I'll die if I don't have food.
Yeah.
I must say, all my kids, my extended family, my daughter-in-law, everybody loves food.
So you're quite dapper in the kitchen?
Oh yeah.
All right. That is,
and you do, girl, if I may ask?
Yeah.
That didn't sound very convincing.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time in professional kitchens.
But then again, I know we had a conversation some time back and you impressed me because you spoke about a meal. What was it, one meal that you spoke? Butter chicken. Yeah. Oh, wow. And the way you explained it, you obviously know you still have to invite me.
Yeah.
You still have to invite me for that.
Yeah, I come out of the food and beverage side of life, isn't it? But be as it may, nothing compares to our guest right now.
Most definitely.
Let me be honest with you, because the one way to describe our guest is really chef par excellence. Somebody who's definitely put the culinary stamp of his background and, of course, his thinking and introducing his dishes on the world. But it is somebody that is definitely making a serious inroad when it comes to dining and culinary experiences within our country. And more importantly, somebody that has trotted the globe to bring dishes to people and put smiles on faces, and in the process, of course, trying to change the world one dish at a time, one plate of food at a time. So, ladies and gentlemen, and all the wonderful people watching, tonight he's here. You would have seen him on TV. You would have seen him as one of the judges with a Master Chef. Joining us tonight on Mahala Monday, the one, the only, Katlego Mlambo. Chef, good evening. How are you?
Thank you so much for that intro. Wow, that intro, you made me feel and sound so good. Who is this Katlego guy? Thank you so much for having me.
No, absolutely wonderful having you on. Thank you so much for taking the time. We know you are super busy beyond belief, and we just appreciate having you here. Definitely. So, and just to get to know this person that has really been taking the culinary world by storm, because that is exactly what you're doing. Everybody is talking about you, and of course, your face is on every TV program when it comes to cooking and people. And people just, I mean, that's the case. That's why we're talking to you, man. That's why we're talking to you. But let's just start off way back. Way back. Yeah, what made you discover your love for cooking? Where did this all begin? How did you wake up one day and go, you know what, I want to be a chef?
So I'll be honest with you. I mean, I was raised by 4 amazing women, my granny, my mom, and my 2 aunties. And I think food has always been a massive part in our family, like a lot of African families. And I mean, my granny was the general. And so every Sunday before church or after church, we'd be making scones, we'd be making queen's cakes, we were making banana bread. And I think I was like my granny's little helper, you know. I'd be the guy who's passing the butter, guy fetching the flour, and I think that's where the seed was planted. But obviously, you know, as you grow, you know, you need to water these seeds and to allow them to be this tree of life. And I'm like, wow, food is the one thing we all have in common. And honestly speaking, I think I became a chef because I thought telling girls I was a chef was a good pickup line, which actually worked. which actually to some degree worked, but you know, you also meet someone who's also a chef, and then you're not that special. And then they realize you're never home on the weekends, you're never home on Christmas Day.
I was just going to say.
Just, you know, they'd rather date a doctor or a lawyer, you know? But then passing that teenage phase of like telling girls I'm a chef, I think also with what made me even gravitate more towards food is the one thing we all have in common. You know, you're happy, you eat. You want to impress someone, you eat. You're mourning, you eat. You know, you're celebrating, you eat. And for me to be the conductor part of this movement is something quite special.
Special.
And we saw a picture there of a young Katlego there. How
Hey.
old were you there with that picture?
Well, that I think over there I was 11, 11. Still, it's still the innocence, before
Innocence.
before the teenageness kicks in. And I mean, that smile, you can see that a picture says 1,000 words, and
Yeah.
clearly
Definitely,
that smile is
definitely.
like it's going to be a bit of a problem.
And I gotta be honest, that person looks very eager and honest on the photo.
No, listen, I mean, I think for me, I've always been a honest person. And and I mean, a picture never lies. And I think that smiles like, listen, I'm honest, I'm naughty though. It's very, very important. There's a bit of naughtiness and
I was going to
spiciness
ask
there,
you now.
but but I wear my heart in my sleeve.
And you probably got away with so much, seeing that you had 4 ladies, obviously, that obviously spoiled you.
Spoiled me rotten. I'll be honest with you, my granny, my days, my granny, ngumntana kagogo, you know what I mean? My
Yeah.
granny like brought me up. So my granny is the one that spoiled me to bits. Like
There
I
we
knew
go.
that my mom at times she was obviously working very, very hard, and my auntie sometimes they didn't tolerate my nonsense. But I knew that my granny, if I had her on my side, I was untouchable. I was untouchable.
I love that. I love it.
But it's amazing how something like, as you say, that the sort of love and passion for cooking was awoken as a child because you acted as Granny's helper and you were just doing
Yeah.
something. And when you became a teenager, did you really discover that you had a knack for that there was a talent to cook?
To be honest, when I was a teenager, I had very bad teeth when I was young, so I wanted to be a dentist. To be honest,
Oh,
because I'm like,
wow.
kids. Yeah, I used to go to this horrible man who was a dentist, and I'm like, kids can't go through the same thing I'm going through every single time. And I think I had bad teeth because that's why I smile a lot now because I had bad teeth because I think I ate a lot of sweets. So it's always the eating was part of the movement, and but I do feel that it was a calling, and it's one of those things with you still dwell into this idea of like, do I want to be a chef? Do I want to be a soccer player? Do I want to be a dentist? And it's also very hard in the African culture because obviously cooking is seen as a woman's job, you
Yeah.
know? So now if I'm like throwing the idea of like, I want to be a chef and I'm speaking to my uncles and they're like, you want to pay thousands and thousands of rands to do a woman's job. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
my
Because that's the
word. Yeah.
mentality. But then
Exactly.
my granny's always been the one that's like, yo, man, if you want to do this and this is what you think you're going to make a success of, forget the white noise, stick to it.
Exactly.
I'll be here to support you. And let's go with it. Let's go for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you as well. I mean, and it's so funny that my daughter and myself had a conversation yesterday as well, and she said, you know what, Mom, that cooking, she found that coming from a household where you got your traditional meals. Sunday is going to be your pot roast, your chicken, your
Yes.
constants. So obviously finding yourself in like she had said, she came from a household in our household where you were introduced to foods, but you can get creative. And this is where she found that she could tweak it here. And is this exactly what you felt? Because obviously also coming from your gogo, from your grandmother's side, having to have certain meals that would have been cooked in a certain way, it would just kind of, you did a bit of tweaking on that as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I always say this. I think for us being South African, we are so diverse. And
Yeah.
Italians, it's the pasta and the
Yeah.
cheese and the parmesan, and the French, it's the cream and the butter. But when a lot of people say to me, what is South African cuisine? I'm like, I have no idea what South African
Exactly.
cuisine is because it's all these cultures, you know what I mean? And I think for us, especially having these amazing women in our lives, our gogos, our mums, cooking's always been that staple,
Oh, yeah.
and there's no recipe for them. They're not
They
telling you
just,
3 cups sugar. They just goy, you know what I mean? This goy. And the love is there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think with us South Africans, the foundation's always been there. It's always
Yeah.
been there. Like, when it comes to Sunday, the meal's gonna be fire. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
gonna be a dope. And
exactly.
I think with having that, it's like, okay, well, there's a good foundation. So let's just add a bit of characters, you know what I mean? Let's add a bit
Yeah.
of layers. Let's add a bit of spiciness here
So true.
and create something that hasn't been broken. But I think for me, it's like the platform's always been for us. South African food is like I feel is some of the best
Oh,
cuisine in the
yeah.
world.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the cultures and the stories. You know what I mean? I always talk about a Sunday 7 colors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not your 7 colors. Like you go to each household it's a different vibe, but it's still 7 colors, you
There we
know?
go.
And I think that's what made it so easy for me. It's just like, let's just take what we have and run with it.
There we go. There we go.
Wonderful, because you're talking about South African cuisine. I want to get back to that, but I also want to just touch base with one or two comments that have just come in the last second or so. And just to get those comments in. Hubert says, good evening, guys. Today's menu at our house is eat it or starve. Yeah, there we go.
Nah, I love it. I love it. I love that.
Good one, Hubert.
You've got 2 options. You've got 2 choices: eat or starve. I love it.
Hubert Poser says, Katlego, is it true that the secret to good food is wine in the chef? That's a question for you.
Listen,
mate.
That's a question for you.
Listen, that question, you know what? I must be honest. A good glass of wine does wonders, hey? 2 glasses. But you have to find that balance. When you go 3 and 4, it becomes a bit tricky. And I found myself in that position many times where things become a bit tricky. So why not just a balance? Just a balance is definitely a good ingredient for making a good meal. Yes.
There we go.
Let me ask you this, because you touched on it just a moment ago, and I want to ask you about the stuff you've done with Food Network, and obviously we're going to get to MasterChef. But I want to ask you this, because you mentioned South African cuisine, and because normally and generally throughout the world, people hail French cuisine, and you touch base with the Italian cuisine. And I remember reading it somewhere, like people used to say in the 80s or the 70s, like British food was really not that great, and all of a sudden, you know, and maybe it's also and maybe it's the influences of the world. And in the last couple of years, there is definitely a much big, because we saw it in South American cuisine, really, especially in Central American cuisine, like influxing the world. Are we seeing
100%.
Are we seeing that now with food from this continent, especially traditional food from this continent, making that kind of impact globally?
Absolutely. I mean, I look at Africa as a continent, and you know, it's crazy that some of the spices, some of the ingredients that you find here in the motherland, it's so similar to what you find in Europe. And I think what's happening now is, I'd like myself and some of the other chefs that were like, listen, we've all been putting European cuisine or Asian cuisine. Now it's time to put our food on the map, you know, and people are seeing us. I mean, the fact that you look at the world top 50 at the moment, there's a South African restaurant like Alam, which obviously has French cuisine here and Asian cuisine there, but it still has a lot of South African roots. You know, we've got another restaurant, Fane. So people are seeing that we shaking things up. And I think for me, it's like, we like spice, we like heat, we like aggressiveness. You know what I mean? And I think before we were like shying from that. You know what I mean? But now it's like, let's give us that flavor. Give me that punch. You know what I mean? Give me that goodness. And now we're running with it. And I think that's for me the exciting part of like moving forward and evolving with this South African cuisine of ours.
And the one thing I must definitely like about our food has a definite a style of freshness. It's like
it's a vibe.
It's like
it's a vibe.
It's happening, man. It's
you know?
Like, you know?
And that's the thing. I mean, 2019, I think for a lot of the things that I've done, 2019 was, I think for me, one of the highlights was cooking at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington. And it was this dinner we were celebrating 100 years of Nelson Mandela and 25 years of democracy. But basically, when I got the brief, Oprah was there, Barack Obama was there, we had all these politicians, right? And I got the brief. And I'm like, to be honest, I want Barack and Oprah to eat what I eat. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna make him pasta. I'm not gonna make him sushi.
Exactly.
So they're like, okay, what are you gonna make? And I made chakalaka for him. I made chakalaka for Barack Obama. Obviously we had to shush it up and make it a bit of a private school, chakalaka. I made him amasi. I made like an amasi ice cream with strawberries. And for me, I made pickled fish for him, you know, just to show him that this is me putting our cuisine on the map. Obviously, there's a couple of tweaks in here, but the foundation and the base is probably South African.
Oh, yeah. And I'm listening to you. I mean, the names of Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, I mean, to name a few, even our president. I mean, how does it feel to me personally? I would have probably felt so pressured and probably nervous. I mean, how was that for you? What was the experience?
Honestly speaking, the nerves are definitely there, you know. And I always say to my mates, like, They're like, "Were you starstruck?" I'm like, "Of course." Like, are you joking? Do you want me to lie? It's I mean, this is Barack Obama and Oprah, you know. But I think the experience for me is like, you just need to realize at the end of the day, these people have eaten every single place around the world. You know what I mean? I'm just another guy that they're eating. But for me, it's just to, if I believe that that day I've put everything I can put on the plate, and then I've done my job. Then I've done my job.
Brother.
Yeah.
You go.
So I want to ask you now, like, what is your best dish, or what is your favorite thing to eat? Let's ask you that.
Honestly speaking, you will not believe this. I'm a very simple guy. I'm a very, very simple guy. So till this day, I think my granny's ipapa, ushatini, and her lamb chops.
I
Like
Yeah.
for
like
me,
them.
that's like my go-to meal. Like I love pap. I could eat it like 3 times a day, which is a problem because the moment in the lips is a lifetime on the hips. You know, so that becomes a bit of an issue. But honestly speaking, as silly as this sounds, I really love a good toasted cheese sandwich. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
a really good
wow.
toasted cheese sandwich. Because I say to a lot of my friends, they ask me, I'm like, imagine you are behind the stove for 16 to 18 hours of the day. You're working with all these amazing ingredients. The last thing I want to do when I get home is spend another 7 hours. I just want a nice sandwich that's gonna tick the boxes.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Just that fuel. But my favorite ingredient, which I have a lot. I mean, I've got two onions. It's definitely one of them. I actually have a tattoo of an onion and coriander. I love coriander. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
High
Tanya.
five for
Tanya is
that.
also, it's one
Oh,
of those things you hoy in everything and it just works. It
it
just works.
works. Definitely.
No, brilliant, brilliant. We got another comment or two here for you. Let's check in on those as well. There's a comment here from Mark. Thank you,
Hey,
Mark. Mark
Mark.
says, Chef Katlego forgot to mention what President Barack had directly told him. What
What did
what
he
what
tell
did he tell
Oh,
you?
you?
Thanks, Mark.
Thank
that's
you, Mark.
okay, Mark.
Mark,
So it's
you
actually
got fries,
crazy. How
man.
does Mark know this? How
I
does
don't
Mark
know.
know this?
Mark, you got a
So
friend there.
it's crazy actually. So oh, Mark is bring back me. So one of the canapes that I made for Barrack for this dinner was it was a snook pate with like an apricot chutney,
Yeah.
right? And so now obviously Barack Obama's like walking through and he's just had this canapé, and now I'm trying to take a photo. But I can't take a photo because the Secret Service is there. You know, it's like, so you cannot do that. But
Yeah.
then Barack actually tapped him on the shoulder and he said, "Job well done. Job well done."
Oh,
And the
wow.
fact that he said that, for me, my day was made.
Did you
My
get
day
the
was made.
photo?
You know what I mean? Of course not. The Secret Service were ready to pounce on me one day. But when Barrett tapped me on the shoulder, it was
Oh,
like,
wow.
and this one I like got starstruck. I'm like, it's like, job well done, man. Job well done. So yeah,
Lovely.
shout out to Mark to bring back those memories. Thank you,
Oh,
Mark.
Here we go.
thank you,
Thanks,
Mark.
Mark. Yeah, that's a hell of a story. So listen,
Yeah.
so where did you study?
So I started at the Silwood School of Cookery in Cape Town.
In
It's in
Rondebosch.
Rondebosch. And
okay.
yeah, and I did my 3-year grant diploma course. So I mean, once again, I'm so lucky that my lecturer saw something in me that I didn't see at me. As I said, I've been very, very naughty, and my lecturers are like, "Katlego, you've got so much potential. The problem is you stoked, man. You like partying and you like girls. Just be focused. Just be focused." And I mean, Corianne and Alicia Wilkinson, I mean, shout out to them. They didn't give up on me and they pushed me. And I mean, also a lot of my head chefs. I must be thankful for the Scott Cursons, the Luke Del Roberts. They didn't fire me. I would have
Yeah.
fired myself, you
Yeah.
know? But I think that's the inspiration of like, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
100%.
And
Oh,
obviously the
yeah.
road is a very tricky road. I mean, people are like, "Oh my God, you're a chef," but they don't see the behind the scenes.
No.
It's a very intense industry, you know what I
It
mean?
is.
And I say to a lot of my friends, being a creative, it's the one industry that you get judged there and then on the spot.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no retake. When you an actor, okay, let's retake, let's try that
Oh,
scene
yeah.
again. When you're a musician, you can go back to the booth and like that note didn't sound as right. But if I'm Katlego and I put a plate on you and you come and you dine, and you don't enjoy it, that's it.
That's
You
it.
Yeah.
judge me on that meal.
Oh, wow.
And it's very, very hard for us.
And,
Sure.
and this is the thing. What kind of chef are you when you're running the pass? Are you like a Marco Pio White who shouts, a Gordon Ramsay, one of these people who are just like, you know what I mean? You watch those programs and we all sit like this, especially with the kiddies where you watch it on mute until the dish comes out.
Yes.
Because
So
I've spent some time in the kitchen and I know what it's like. I know
you know the verbal
I know
diarrhea
exactly
that
what
comes out.
happens
You
in
know
the kitchen.
exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but it comes down to personality, because it is really, you want to get perfection with the ingredients that you have. You
Yes.
want nature as the true artist, you just the vehicle, as you said earlier to us off air. You want to bring all of that out. So I know it's hard, it's strenuous, it's high demand, it's high performance level, it's an excellence performance level. What is your personality? Do you lose
So
it?
I'll be honest with you. I mean, listen, I used to be a shouter. I used to be a shouter, but like I think, as Marco Pio White said, and I mean, he's one of the goats. For those 3 hours, it's not about me. It's about the guests. And emotions are for the bedroom. So for those 3 hours, it's like we're going. And yes, sometimes you want things to be jolly and holding hands and singing Kumbaya. But sometimes you need to drop an F-bomb or two, just to make sure people are awake, just to make sure they're awake. And then afterwards, you grab a drink. After that, you grab a drink. So for me, it's like service for me is very, very important. Service is sacred. You spend the whole day prepping for the service just for 3 hours. And we can't not be focused. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And obviously, it should be a vibe and it should be a good rush.
Yeah.
But listen, sometimes guys take chances, and you just need to bring them back. Just a bit.
Katlego, so Food Network. I mean, you've cooked. You come from Silwood. You've cooked through the best restaurants. You mentioned Luke Del Roberts, some names there. You've cooked across the world. You've got experience cooking it abroad. You've been here. You've cooked for Barack Obama. You come back, and there you find yourself now on television with Food Network. That's happening, and we're gonna get to MasterChef. I mean,
Yes.
the career path in terms of the branches and everything you're doing is just constantly expanding.
And I mean, thank you so much. And I think, I'm so thankful for all these opportunities that have come my way. And Food Network, oh my days, my first cooking show. Man, I've got 2 shows on the Food Network, 143 countries.
Wow.
It's crazy, It's mad. It's like, but I think for me, it's like, it's come with time. You know what I mean? It's come with time. It's like, and a lot of the things, like sometimes you get lost in the noise, like, I want to be a celebrity chef and I want to do this. But then you forget, if you don't have the base and the foundation. The reason the Gordons are the Gordons, or the Marco Pio Whites, the Jamies, is because they've done their time, they paid their rent. And Food Network was an amazing experience. I mean, we shot in Dubai. I was there for a month, and the team was so supportive. Obviously, I was very, very nervous because it's first show, and you're like part of the Food Network family. There's Jamie Oliver and Nigella and that person and that person. But once again, I think for me, I've always said I want to be authentic, and I'm first a chef before a TV personality. Obviously, and these things come with time. You know what I mean? But for me, it's like, and I remember when Food Network came to me, and a lot of these brands come and like, we're looking at a show, and I said to them, guys, I don't have 100,000 followers. I don't have 200,000 followers on Instagram. But if you want a chef, I'm your guy. If you want someone that can cook, I'm your guy. And I remember Henry, the head of like production, is like, Katlego, don't worry about the followers. We coming to you because your resume, your work speaks for itself. And it's been such an amazing journey. And then it was the Inside Job was the first show, and then I had another one, Every Day Wow with Chef Katlego. And I mean, the support's been great. And for me, it's like, those that believe, and for me, it's like, it's genuine and it's authentic and the integrity is there. And I'm not an Instagram chef. I say this all the time. I'm like, I'm not, because like,
You're a real
like,
chef.
I'm a real chef.
I'll say it. You're a real chef.
I'm a real chef. And I'm like, and that's what I always say to myself. I'm like, guys, when I'm in the kitchen in service and you're coming for a meal, when am I having time to pose and take pictures? I can't.
Yeah.
When am I doing that?
Heat is
So
fun.
Food Network was amazing.
Yeah. And there we are now, because, I mean, you were a guest judge on Master Chef the previous
Yes,
season.
the last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now you are part of the official judges. There you are. the three
Yep.
of you, and this is truly the biggest cooking show in the world. It has taken the world by storm. I've watched some of it, and let me just say, man, I don't envy your job as a judge because the levels here, the
The
levels.
levels are the levels are so intense, and I think for me, so yes, so you know when there's a plan, there's a plan. So last season I applied, and I didn't get the cut. I didn't make it, but then I was called on as a guest judge, you know. But then also last time was like COVID, and it was intense, and I think it was just God saying, "Listen, you're not ready yet to be a main judge." And this last year when I got the call, they're like, "Listen, Katlego, the show's moving to a new channel," and I'm like, "Okay." And like, "Listen, the channel really loves you." I'm like, "Okay." And like, "Listen, if you want the job, it's yours." And I'll be honest with you, the show is amazing. The contestants, the team, the production, you know what I mean? And just going back to your point, it's a very hard job because we have to be honest. Because as I say to a lot of people, you get judged on your first and your last plate. You know, the plate of the day.
Yeah.
We don't care last week that you made an amazing bowl of ramen. If today, unfortunately, your plate was not good enough, you go home. And it's R1,000,000. It's R1,000,000. And a lot of people might like say, "Oh, but it's R1,000,000." But it's like what comes with the title of being Master Chef. It opens so many doors. And it's something that myself, Zola, and Justine take very seriously. You know, it's not just a mampara job, and and when I say for me the importance is like the whole team are there to try to produce the best show that they can produce. Everyone's hand selected, from the guy that's grabbing the cables to the one who's slating to the sound guys. Like everyone is there for a purpose. And for you to come and not give 110%, I think it's a crime. It's an amazing show. It's an amazing show.
Definitely.
I want to ask you how difficult it is to judge somebody because, I mean, do you separate emotions and, because you don't want to hurt the feeling because somebody's now basically putting their soul on a plate. But before we do that, we got another comment. I want to touch on that as well while we still have you with us. Hubert says, listening to Katlego make me believe that the kitchen is where the heart of every home beats, and cooking is the act of love that brings everyone closer.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And that's the truth. That is the truth. I love that. That is absolutely correct.
Yeah. Then Jabbar as well.
Yeah, Jabbar says, awesome story at such a development phase of life. Keep it up. Keep up the amazing work. That is from Jabbar.
Shout out. Thank you very much.
Mark
Thank you so much.
Mark Sauls, the one who knows all your secrets. Mark is back, man. Mark says
Mark is the operator.
Want to put a tag on him. The authenticity shines through. Chef Katlego has nothing to worry about in that regard. Your authenticity shines through.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate those
brilliant, brilliant. So let me ask you this. Yes, somebody puts their soul on a plate. In a competition like MasterChef, they think, this is it, man. This is it. This is the fire right here. And the sauce. The lava is running here. You look at it with your other judges or Intel, you've tasted it, presentation, you've gone through the boxes, you got a ticket, you go, And now you got to be brutally honest and say, listen, this is not the level. What goes through you? How do you emotionally shift? And let's put in another spanner here. You actually like this person. You think this person is really a wonderful contestant.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes.
You got to break hearts.
And you know, and you have to break hearts. But to answer your question, I think with a lot of the contestants, right, the ones that actually don't make a good enough meal, I think deep down inside they know. You know what I mean? I think you know when you've nailed it, and you know you're like lukewarm, you know? So when it comes to myself, Zola, and Justine, our job is so hard because once again, we have to put emotion aside. Because once again, imagine you spend 6 weeks with these people. We see them, you know what I mean? It's you fall in love with them, you see a bit of yourself in them, you chat with them. But when it comes down to it, it's like, the integrity, is it there? And am I doing a disservice to them by selling them dreams? But also, what I love about MasterChef South Africa is the empathy. You know, we're not there to bash people down and tell them that this is horrible. We're like, listen, man, we could see where you're going. Unfortunately, today, the train was going to Garankua and you decided to stay here. So that's how we have to. And there are days we debate. There are moments where we debate, because obviously you want Michael to go through and Zola wants Samantha to go through.
Yeah.
But then we have to fight for our person. But at the end of the day, we all come to an agreement.
But that agreement that you come through, having that debate with the other judges, because people it's always the famous line in competitions, oh, the judges are deliberating. And I've been a judge many times. I'm going to be honest, sometimes I'm tired. I'm like, yeah, whatever you say, let's go with it.
But the thing is, we never do that. We can't,
Yeah. So when you do that, like, I mean, you guys do reach. Like, I mean, like, if you saying this is it's not lopsided. It generally is. You're all in the same direction.
All in the same direction. And I mean, it's crazy you say that. I think, as fun as this sounds, when it came down to the finale, we were deliberating for a good 35, 40 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Because we need to try to tick all the boxes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because the last we want to do is 3 weeks to if only you know. So we literally 30 to 35 minutes, 40 minutes, we're deliberating.
Exactly.
Man, it's such a pleasure having you, I must say.
So the next question for you, Katlego, is what is next? What is next for you?
What is next? Wow. There's this saying, the world is your oyster. So for me, once again, I really, as you said it earlier on, I want to change the world one plate at a time. And at the moment, we are looking at a cookbook.
Oh, wow.
So just a cookbook of my stories, but also I think what's before the what is next, it's just to inspire, what type of man I want to be, what type of leader I want to be, what type of chef I want to be, because there's 1,000 of Katlegos out there, that need, when you come from the hood, you need someone to look up to. And I think for me, I just need to inspire one person, one person. And if I've inspired one person to show that times can be tricky and times can be tough, but it's how you roll the punches. I've done something good. I've done something good.
Absolutely wonderful.
Beautiful.
Listen, Aku, we can't have a chef of your stature here and not ask you for a tip. We need a tip for the viewers. Something easy peasy, whatever. Just a tip for making food.
Listen, I got this tip from Justin Drake when we were in Cape Town. So when you make a burger, homemade burgers, and sometimes they're more like a fricadelle or more like a meatball because they're a bit dense. You know what I mean? Because it's not as crumbly. What you must do is you add just add a couple of jungle oats. Jungle oats to the actual mince, and it makes it crumbly and flaky. And it's crazy. The texture of the burger is definitely more lighter. And that's my trick of the day. Jungle oats and mince will make your burger divine.
And that is just with the mince. You don't have to wet the oats, nothing like that. You just...
No, as is. Just sprinkle a couple of oats. So your regular homemade burger, because sometimes it gets a bit dense. Pour in some jungle oats, and it makes it crumbly and light. It will blow your mind.
So it will almost make it like it would feel like the mince is differently minced. Do you know what I mean? Like different cuts from different.
Yes, exactly. And jungle oats.
I'm gonna go buy it.
And who said breakfast was bad? Thanks for that. I want to try that, man. Because I see a burgers that I do properly smash and do the whole thing, man. I'm gonna do that.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And homemade burgers can be great, but sometimes just too heavy. But jungle oats. Best and believe.
Just
take it over it. Man, you wear so many hats, and truly you are inspiration to hundreds and millions and thousands of people. And from outside, I can definitely tell you that you're inspiring another generation, because you're opening a pathway to, as you said, a career path that maybe not always what people are looking at, but the way you're doing it, man, you're doing it like it's on fire, it's cool, it's savvy, it's happening. And I'm sure you are like the first person on everybody's invite list. Let's get the chef over until they serve the food, and they all get worried and panicky.
And that's the thing. And I want to say to them, just chefs are like very simple human beings. Just for us to be in the receiving end, that's enough for us. You know what I mean? But also a lot of people are tricky. Because when they invite you, be like, but we've got a chef in the house. You can go. I'm like, no. So I'm very careful with invites now.
Exactly.
Because people are like, I'm not up there, and then I found myself, and obviously, like, it's my thing. Now I'm in the kitchen now, and of course they're just feeding me the wine. They're like, yeah, whatever. Tricksters. But yeah.
Before we leave, there was a picture that was on. It was Dine with the Don. What is that
Yes.
all about?
So this was last year. Hopefully we'll have it this year. Where Rocking the Daisies, one of the biggest music festivals in the world, we had basically a chef's table at a music festival. So a lot of people think a music festival has junk food, but this was like you having a done meal at a music festival, and it was something that we did. So we'll see this year. All the T's and all the I's are dotted. But yeah.
Ayo.
And that's a great fest. It's around the corner normally. It takes place. Yeah, I've worked that
It is
fest.
indeed.
Yeah,
It is
a
indeed.
wonderful
Yeah,
fest.
it is indeed. Yeah.
It's a wonderful fest. Katlego Mlambo, what can I say other than thank you so much for your time. Any final thoughts? Any closing thoughts?
Yes, final thoughts, closing thoughts is I like your question that you asked. Do you live to eat or do you eat to live? And I think what's important is like both make sense, you know what I mean? But it's how you take it and how you run with it. So things are not things, many are called, only few are chosen. And I say to a lot of the kids that want to be chefs, it's a very pressured environment, but you know what you get from pressure? Diamonds. So yeah.
100%.
Wow.
Thank you so much for your time. We wish you all the best, and please, next time around, I mean, you've cooked now for Barack, but you haven't cooked for me yet. I'm just saying.
No, I got you. Don't worry.
You know what I mean?
Don't worry, I got you.
And you can definitely have a photo with me. You don't have to ask.
All right. Listen.
Secret
I'll
service
take you on your
troubles.
shoulder.
You're not going to have these secret service troubles.
Because
Because they seem to be in the news a lot too. None of that, none of those.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, none of these things. None of these things will happen. It will be good. Yeah. And we'll enjoy a snook pate or something.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch. But thank you. Once again, thank you so much for having me. I really had a great time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on, and we wish you all the best, and keep doing what you do. It is absolutely brilliant.
Amazing, my brother. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you so much. And yeah, onwards and upwards. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you, and thank you for doing what you do.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers.
Chef Katlego Mlambo, everybody, right here on Mahala. You heard it there. What an amazing story. What an amazing story of hard work, dedication, and of course, and that is really what it's about. And then the opportunities come, and now you are known throughout the planet, throughout the globe, but more importantly, you're bringing things together and showcasing South African food and other South African talents, and being part of a program like MasterChef is absolutely brilliant. So you got to tune in. It is on TV, of course. Season 5 is on, largest cooking show on the planet, which is MasterChef. It started quite recently, so episodes out, you'll see Chef Katlego doing his thing there as a judge. But what a great story.
What a great story. And I just wanted to basically also go back to something that he had said, Hugo. It was a case of the families and parents out there, especially the fathers out there. If a son comes in and says he wants to be a chef, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look here. This is a classic example of, you know what? Anything is possible. And you know what? If it's in you and you're born to be a chef, you love cooking. If not, why not, So don't hold your kids back. Try and encourage them and actually just be there for them. Like his grandmother, like his gogo was there for him, Be there for our kids.
And it is a true thing, because we're talking here about artistry. This is really a soul. How do you measure things? This is about an artist. So the passion comes through, and when people have passion, you know what? Trust me, they're going to bring something to you that is absolutely brilliant.
Definitely.
So that is it. But what can we say? Thank you to Chef Katlego Mlambo, of course, for joining us this evening and chatting to us here on Mahala Monday. It's been an absolute pleasure. And also thank you for all the wonderful comments. And Mark Sauls, may I just say thank you very much for being that secret service person, the spy, and coming up with the secrets. It's brilliant. But what you got to do is, of course, share the videos, share this and like, and we'll be back soon, Rhoda.
Most definitely see you on Monday.
Yeah, next time around. So that is it from us. We just hope you enjoyed all of this.
Most definitely, because you know what we did? And I'm so looking forward to actually going to make that, the burger? I mean, seriously,
what a tip.
So guys, even if you're going to make it in
he never
one
said how much oat.
He didn't say. I think we're gonna have to text him and then just yeah. I think we need to send a text, your Dougal. We need to send a text and how much mince. But I think you know what, like you said, you sprinkle it. You sprinkle it. So I think you just kind of do your mince and you sprinkle a bit of oats with it.
Yeah.
There we go. Smash burger, and then you invite me and Dougal.
We'll come and judge that. We'll come and judge that. But yeah, that is it for us here on a Mahala Monday. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being part of the episode as well. And we wish you all the best, and may you just have an exciting week. And thank you very much. Until next time from us here. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.